Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Changemakers. I'm so excited today because today we have an interview on the show, Maria. After completing her Matura, Maria began studying psychology at the University of Zurich. After failing her first year, she began considering other paths and eventually changed to a new major, chemistry and business studies. Now, 5 years down the track, Maria is finishing up her master thesis and working at a leading pharmaceutical company. Maria, we brought you onto the show to talk a little bit about your experience at uni. We know many students at the moment are in the middle of their exams, they're stressed, maybe they're even having doubts about their choice of study. And I know you went through a very similar thing. We'd really like to give our clients hope and inspiration by showing them through other people's examples what is possible and that they can do it too. So, Maria, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you on here.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your experience.
Sure. When I first enrolled into uni, I was very motivated and eager to learn new things. I was set on getting the best grades, finish my studies as soon as possible, so I could dive into the business world and make a name for myself. Then, by the end of the second midterm, came my first exam session. I had studied a lot, both alone and with peers, and I felt ready. And a couple of weeks after the exams, I then received the news that I didn't pass my assessment year.
Okay.
And I did not understand how that happened. I was a bit shocked. And the whole experience was very new to me because I had never failed on an exam before. And I didn't know how to react and how to move forward at first.
Oh, wow. That must have been really frustrating.
Yeah, the for me the most difficult part was to tell my family. I knew they stood behind me and they would understand it and support me no matter what. But for me, it was a tough thing to do to tell my family I didn't succeed in my exams, and I don't know why. I don't know what I
Mm.
could have done better. So anyway, there was no way for me to change what just had happened, and but giving up wasn't much of an option for me as well. So I decided to take the exam a second time, and I enrolled for the same course again. But then only after a few weeks, I came to the realization that although I found the content of the course of studies very interesting, I couldn't see myself going on this path for the next 5 years. So you could say my perception of the course of studies and how I wanted to shape my life has changed with this failure, if you want to call it so.
Okay. So it really made you rethink where you were, where you were going,
Yes,
and you didn't feel very motivated when you started that second year. Is that's what I'm hearing?
yes, exactly. So in the second year, I was thinking, how could I prevent this from happening again? But then at the same time, I started looking elsewhere, seeing what could be of interest for me to go maybe another course of study, another direction, a completely different direction to go into. So I went back and looked through the list of all the courses offered by my university, and I came upon a course of study that I had never heard of before, which is called Chemistry and Business Studies. I could never imagine myself working in a lab full time, and studying a business administration course wasn't an option either. I wasn't interested in that, but the mixture was very intriguing for me, and I wasn't sure how work life would look like, but I was just very curious about the course itself, so I immediately enrolled as soon as it was possible for me.
Okay, so that's quite different from psychology.
Yeah,
So did you
definitely.
enroll? Did you enroll while you were still studying psychology? Did you have that as
Yes.
like your backup plan, or was it more of an emergency?
I somehow immediately knew that that was the thing that I wanted to do, and I started taking courses for the new program. So I was still enrolled in psychology, but I knew I wouldn't take the exam second time, and I wouldn't invest any more time in that course of study,
Mm-hmm.
and rather put all my effort in modules that would count for my new course of study. So I focused on courses related to economics and management, so I could save time when I switch the course and then dive into chemistry and physics and maths right away.
That's a really great point that although you hadn't changed your major yet, you could still do courses in that direction. So you still felt like you were going somewhere.
Yeah, sure. No, I was really lucky to be able to do that actually, and yeah, it was the right decision to do. the,
Okay.
the the program itself was fairly new. We were just a small group studying it. We were about 34 starting in the first year, which is a very small group compared to other courses.
Mm.
We were commuting between two campuses. We were changing between labs and large lecture halls. But that's the thing that I actually enjoyed. There was no routine. We had a change of scenery on a daily basis.
Oh,
That
okay.
was really great for me. Yeah.
And from what I understand, you actually got really involved in this new study choice that because it was a small group, you could actually make a difference as a student.
Yes, that's correct. I joined very early on the Students Association, got involved, became member of the board, and later on also vice president of the association. We organize a lot of student events with companies on site and at the university. We had a lot of workshops. We started a mentorship program, and we even worked together with university on raising awareness for our course of study through making some marketing videos that explained what is this course of study about, and why should people join it?
That sounds amazing. So you're used to this whole broadcast filming thing.
Not really. I'm usually behind the camera.
Oh, wow. So when you said before that when you found this choice of study, this major, you knew immediately that this was going to be really interesting, that this was going to be the thing for you. How does that compare to how it was when you were studying psychology? Was there a difference in your feeling and your motivation as well?
I think I somehow, looking back, I was somehow under a lot of pressure in my first year studying psychology. I was interested in the content, but not really um, burning for it. I didn't have that joy studying it and looking forward to the next course and what might be coming. So maybe that's the passion for the course. Maybe that was missing, and maybe that was what in the end was a contributor to not succeeding or moving forward in that direction. And that's what I have now in this course of study. I'm interested in the content. I'm looking forward to working actually in this direction. So yeah, I think that's a big difference.
That's so amazing that you say that because that's really something that we believe in here as well at Stednitz, that a lot of people choose a course of study because it makes sense and they have this long-term goal and they see it as a stepping stone to the working environment. And when it's not what your passion is, when it's not something that you're burning for, as you said, it
Mhm.
doesn't mean it's impossible and it doesn't mean it won't work, but it's just going to make it so much harder. And you're going to have a lot more stress because of it.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Yeah,
How
completely.
interesting. Okay, so you said that you were doing some research while you were still studying psychology about different study choices, different majors for you. How did
Mhm.
you go about researching? I mean, there's so many different choices. Did you also talk to friends and family, or did you do it all online? How did you go forth in that process?
I started on my own. And the easy thing for me was I knew exactly what I didn't want to do. So I went through the courses. It was like, no, 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 no. And there were only a couple courses left. And then it was, for me, it was, what is the course about? What would I be working in the future? And then I discussed it with my family as well, because they know me the best and they will advise me in the best way they can. They don't have any stakes in what I will be studying. They want the best for me, and that's why I went in the end to them. And when I made my decision, I also got all of the support I needed from them as well.
Okay. That's amazing. I'm so glad that you found your thing.
So am I. So am I. Yeah, now I'm in the final stages of my studies. I'm working on my master thesis, which I can do in a collaboration between my university and a leading pharmaceutical company. And I'm looking forward to getting my degree this summer and pursuing new challenges in the business world.
That's amazing. I'm so glad for you, Maria. And how inspiring is that for everyone else? It actually reminds me of this speech by Steve Jobs. Do you know the one, his graduation speech?
You would have to tell me.
I just think it's such a great idea that he brings up, and he says, look, things happen in my life that at that point made no sense to me. I failed this course, I dropped out of school, this happened, and because this happened, I learned this skill, or I met these people. And now looking back, it all makes perfect sense to me, but it doesn't make sense at the time. So it really is only at the end that you can look back and really join those dots together. And I just feel like that's so true again, hearing your story today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, looking back, I'm not proud of not passing my exams, but I'm glad that it made me rethink my choices and following a new path, which has given me so much joys and a lot of new opportunities. So yeah, I definitely agree with Jobs.
Okay, so maybe just one last question. Now, looking back on how far you've come, and thinking about our listeners that are maybe in that situation right now, they're in their exams, they're stressed, frustrated, maybe they're having doubts. Do you have any advice for them at this time?
Take a deep breath. It usually looks much darker than it actually is. And even if you don't pass an exam, you can even retake it or do something completely else. It won't matter in a couple of years anymore as long as you find what you really want to do.
I 100% agree with that. Thank you so much for being on the show with us, Maria. It was so great talking to you today.
Thank you for having me.
So it just goes to show that during tough times, it can look really dark, but it could also be what's meant to happen. And we can either shrink back in fear or we can stand tall and grow. So change makers, if you're going through a setback right now or you're having some tough times, just remember this can set you on a path of growth, not even imaginable for you right now. So you've got something to look forward to.